Welcome to Time Out with Tony. This is Tony Cuckson, transformational storyteller and author, inviting you into living your happily ever after real life experience. And in the opening episodes of this Time Out with Tony podcast, I want to share with you a number of important aspects of the work that I do. And these will include answering such questions as: what is a transformational storyteller? And can you really live happily ever after? So in this first edition, I want to cover the issue of transformational storytelling. What is it? And what it can mean for your life and living the life you love. Let's take the word transformational. And this can be broken down into three parts. There is the prefix trans, there is the middle form, and there is the suffix ational. And the New Oxford Dictionary of English defines the prefix trans as meaning beyond. It originates from the Latin word trans, which also means across. And in this sense, a transformational storyteller is someone who invites you to cross a threshold. And the word form has many definitions, but for my purpose, I take the word form as being something physical, defined by time and space. And you and I live within the form of the body between a timeline called birth and death, and you are living in form. The suffix ation or ational means action. So the word transformational, as I define it, involves the action of moving beyond the time and space form that you think you are and that you live your story from. Now, most people who have lived on earth live this time-bound story, and they never move beyond this story. They never get to live their happily ever after story. And this is your unique and magnificent story beyond the time-bound idea of yourself as a personality. And my work as a transformational storyteller is to invite you through the medium of storytelling to move beyond the idea and limitation of time and space, and to move into knowing who you are beyond time and space. Now, in order to do this, I use a certain kind of language, and this language I call that sweet moon language. It is a language of paradox, poetry, passion, and presence. It is the language not of the intellect, but of the heart. And it comes from a line from the following poem by the mystic poet Hafiz. Admit something. Everyone you see, you say to them, love me. Of course, you do not do this out loud. Otherwise, someone would call the cops. Still, think about this. This great pull in us to connect. So why not become the one who lives with a full moon in each eye, that is always saying with that sweet moon language what every other eye in the world is dying to hear? And learning this sweet moon language is an ongoing process. It is, for me, a happily ever after process because it is never done. It is the learning of the language of love. What is it that goes beyond form? It is the energy of love. The most transformational energy is the energy of love because it always is, and ever after will be. And when you live from the essence you are, beyond the idea of who you think you are, you will feel transformed. You will have gone beyond. You will not disappear, but you will be informed from beyond this dimension of once upon a time. And this is not simply more information. You will be informed by the presence of the eternal, which is forever, which is love. So, as a transformational storyteller, I invite you, through the use of that sweet moon language, to discover who you are and to love the life you live. And essentially, I do this through the sound of my voice. However, I also invite this experience of living happily ever after through the writings on my blog. So what can transformational storytelling do for you? I have designed this podcast Time Out with Tony in a very specific way. Firstly, I have taken a story from my own tradition, and this is an Irish mythological story that I call The Four Treasures of the Tuatha Dé Danann. This story then forms the foundation for teaching what I call the 7 steps to living the life you love, or living happily ever after. And these 7 steps include practices that I invite you to follow in order to find your destiny. And you learn how to discriminate between what I call higher feelings and emotions. You are taught how to focus and to give and receive love. And having learned how to use the 4 treasures, you will have opened up to those happily ever after experiences beyond once upon a time. It is only in living your real, authentic story that you will know, within this once upon a time dimension, what it really means to live happily ever after. This knowing is your birthright. Now, over time, this Time Out with Tony podcast will also share with you the 101 qualities that are embraced by someone who is living the life they love. And included within this podcast will be various foundational practices which you are invited to experiment with. Please note, however, that this learning to live a happily ever after life is a journey, and is not a journey for those who require instant results. For living happily ever after is an art. It is a journey of commitment, patience, passion, and compassion. It is a journey of learning to love yourself at deeper and deeper levels of knowing, until that point comes where you realize that love is who you are. So it is my hope that we can journey together so that we can transform not only your world, but this wonderful world that we are given to enjoy. And this is a journey of real empowerment. So please feel free to share this podcast with a friend or with anyone who would like to learn to live a life they love. And the next edition of Time Out with Tony will cover in more detail the second question that opened this podcast. And this was the question: can you really live happily ever after? And so to finish, one of the practices that an individual who loves the life they live is the practice of blessings. And here is one of my favourite. Deep peace of the still earth to you. Deep peace of the flowing wave to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the infinite peace to you. Deep peace of the infinite peace to you. And this infinite peace is the peace of the heart. And may you know, may you feel, and may you radiate that peace to bless you and everyone you know and love and do not love. So until we meet again, this is transformational storyteller and author Tony Cuckson signing off.
May the long-time sun shine upon you. Oh, love surround you, and the pure light within.
If you haven't already signed up for the Time Out with Tony podcast, 101 Ways to Live Happily Ever After, then don't miss out. Go to my website, which is at http://www.tonycuckson.com, and Tony Cuckson is spelled TonyCuckson. And at the top left hand corner is a subscription form. You simply complete this and you will receive a regular inspirational invitation to learning how to live the life you love. And this podcast is unique in the way that it combines story, poetry, song lyrics and practices that transform your story. And if you have any comments, then please leave them below the web page or at the YouTube video. And if you have any questions, email me at storyteller@tonycuckson.com. And again, that is spelled TonyCuckson.com. Have a great day. Have a wonderful life. Thank you.